Hey guys, here we are with another video, and if you're still here, if you're still playing the game, congratulations for making it this far, because this is by far the most boring time this game has ever been in. Like I think for the past 2 weeks now, no events, no banner, just to show you, Clay has been dropping mightily, right? But that doesn't really affect the rewards, especially if you like just transfer from Asterite to NKA to NKA to MBX to MBX to Clay, and then just transfer it to USD. That doesn't really affect it. The only way that you will be affected by this if you like keep Clay after you transfer things. But if not, then this is not really a concern. The rewards are pretty stagnant, but this one is like making people panicking about the game. But just to point out, this is really coinciding with the drop of BTC as well. So BTC has been dropping, but none of that stuff really concerns a lot of you guys who are watching. But anyway, again, this is a very boring time for the game. A lot of people are actually quitting. I see a lot of people selling their accounts, not just whales, also like the non-whales. And without any events, we are struggling as well as a channel. There's not much content out there, right? So, but we're powering through it. Let's just see what happens for the past few days. If you are out, then it was nice to meet you all. It was a great few months. But anyway, today we're going to talk about Puffu, and just keep in mind I don't really have any Puffu. The videos that you are going to see today are videos of me going against a Puffu, and basically I made conclusions, going against a Puffu, not really owning it. And so just take this one with a grain of salt. But I think I am onto something here, right? So first of all, I would like to tell you that a lot of people have been using Puffu wrong. So here I'll show you me going against Lens. He has a Puffu, he has an Ebon Thorax, Sorbor, and Bird. So basically, he wanted to take advantage of a Bird Ebon Thorax lineup, which is something that I have used, and this is something that kind of play to the strength of Sorbor as well. But like this is kind of my recommended Sorbor, Toko, and then Suryu. But so he replaced Suryu with a Puffu. Now I would tell you that this is not very ideal, right? I would say that Suryu is still better in terms of this kind of lineup. Suryu would work well better than Puffu, okay? And in this video we will see exactly why. So you'll see here. So because one thing to note, Puffu is like damage over time, he is really strong. But as I've mentioned in the past, Suryu is also strong damage over time, and he is kind of a nuke. So you will see here, Bird will almost die. All right, so he's about to die here. Now, if my Bird die while charging, then I would have lost this one easily. But like for example, if we transfer Puffu, like if we replace Puffu with a Suryu, my Bird would have been dead. But since he is using a Puffu, which means like the damage is still getting there. Unlike if you are using Suryu, the damage would have been done already, and then thus killing my Bird. My Bird will survive, and then thus killing a lot of his familiars. And so that's why I think a lot of people are using Puffu wrongly, right? That's just one example. There's another example that I will show you. Now this is me going against Kek WFR, right? So kind of the same thing. So I think the idea here is he wanted Hippocampus to like gather everybody so that Puffu will be able to hit a lot more. This is actually a good idea because he is also using Ebon Thorax, so that means he will be pushing some familiar in front, and then that would make Hippocampus hit a lot more. But he is using a Sorbor, and so like having 4 range familiars together with Sorbor, not really ideal. And so but just to point out, Puffu will also be kind of underwhelming here, right? So even though everyone's gathered together, like still the damage over time is kind of weak, because with Sorbor, again, I've mentioned, he will need some some good DPS, like in order, like, because you don't want Sorbor to go against 5 familiars, like 5 damage dealers. Okay, and so we want Suryu so that at least we can kill someone before the opponent's Toko heal them back completely. And that is exactly what is going to happen here. That did not help with a Puffu, right? Because it's also damage over time, and also with the Hippocampus. Good nuke, but damage over time kind of lacking, right? So not really a good pairing. And yeah, eventually I will just win this. Anyway, another thing that I would like to point out, and this is Puffu, the skill is changed from the Korean server. So in the Korean server, Puffu, if Puffu is attacking someone who is frostbitten, he will do extra damage to it. Now, the Puffu in the global version does not do that. Everything is there, so every third basic attack deals 19.2 of attack every 3 attacks. So that is also in the Korean server. When taking knockdown damage, it will deal damage as well to the opponent. So that is also there in the global, but it does not have where if he attacks someone who is frostbitten, it will deal additional damage. Doesn't have that, so maybe the global version of Puffu is nerfed, and so that's why maybe Puffu is kind of underwhelming right now, performing. I mean, it's doing well for Wales, but I've said in previous videos, Puffu will be really strong, and I think the reason why he is not is because one, people are using him incorrectly. Number two, there's a little bit of a nerf there, right? So compared to the Korean server. All right, now I know this question will be out there eventually, so I will just answer it right now. How I would have used Puffu if I have him. All right, so keep in mind, like the skill of Puffu is really similar to Tarakona, and so in my opinion, I would use him similar to the prototype of what Tarakona is, minus the part where Tarakona is a melee type. All right, so I said that because with Tarakona, I usually would put someone who is has a lot of CC, right, in order for Tarakona to survive more in battle, right. With Puffu being ranged, we don't really need that. So we don't really need to support him in a way where we have to have him survive. So with Puffu, you can have just like familiars who are tanky, and that would do the trick. Okay, so in my opinion, so again, I don't have a Puffu, but we will have a proxy. So let's say since they are both sea creatures, let's use Horay as Puffu. So I would put Puffu in, right, and then I would put Toko for sure, because who else is not using Toko? We're gonna use Abontorex because why not? I would use Might because we will need a fire familiar as well. And the last one, I would use Disbelief. Alright, so Disbelief would really help Might, Abontorex survive more, and with Toko over here, that is just the icing on the cake. Now, maybe you would ask the question, this is two earth types. This would be weak against fire type. Don't you worry, because Puffu is strong attacker, and keep in mind a lot of fire types are melee types. So like for example, Might, Tarakona, so they will eventually go in front anyway, and so they will be killed by Puffu eventually. So it will be really good to have two earth types, so that when it comes to the water types, or even like similar earth types, at least you would have the edge over here. We just have Might here for in case we get to the area where we have a Staghorn, right? I would actually place it this way. So in this side, Ebontorex will cancel a Staghorn. Like for example, it is hidden. We have Might over here to also cancel Staghorn in case the Staghorn is over here. So this is perfect in my opinion. Really good healing, especially if you have very good Disbelief, right? So basically, this is a team that is focused on Puffu's strengths. Now, would I recommend using Puffu if it's only at A1 to A2? No, because at like top 100, that would be underwhelming. It would be better to use like a Suryu that is at A7 or above, right? But maybe at A3, A4, I would build a team around Puffu, but lower than that, it's hard to build. Like if you're building around a familiar that is kind of weak because it's not yet fully awakened, then that is a bad idea. Okay, so I guess this video is not for F2P, right? So if you are whales or dolphins, I guess this video is for you, right? So this is what I would do if I have a Puffu at least A4. Okay. Anyway, to sum up, you really want to build your Puffu like you would a Tarakona in a way that you want him to do damage over time, like a lot. Like so, you want to prolong the battle, and that's why we are using Ebon Torex, Disbelief, and Might. So Disbelief added healing Toko with also healing a lot. Then this 4 will really prolong the game and give Puffu a lot of time to do massive damage. All right. And we are using 2 earth types again because even if there's a fire type there, Puffu in theory will be able to kill them easily. And so if there's no more fire types in your opponent's side, Disbelief and Toko will be free to wreak havoc. Alright, I'm showing you this video because Hamzikik here is using a lineup that is very similar to what I just mentioned. So we have Ebon Torex here, Might, Puffu, Toko. He doesn't have a Disbelief. He's using Molten Lion instead. Right, so let's see what happens here. But first thing that I can tell you is that this is not ideal actually because my bird is facing Ebon Torex. So not ideal. That's not what I want to happen. But anyway, so also my bird will die before he can use his skill. So another reason why I lost here. But really a good lineup, I should say. So my bird will die, thus making life easier for him. I mean, Puffu isn't really the MVP here, but again, this is a very ideal lineup. To show you, like just to point out, Ebon Torex is about to die, but Toko is almost at cooldown. It would be nice if Toko could use a skill again before Ebon dies. That's why at least in this particular scenario, it would have been better to have Disbelief instead of Molten Lion. Because if he has a Disbelief instead of Molten Lion, the Ebon Torex would have been healed back to at least half health. Alright? And then so, with 4 seconds cooldown here, so let's see what happens. So, he died. So basically, Ebon Torex died with 2 seconds left on cooldown. So, could have been efficient with the healing there if you have a Disbelief. So that would really help out, just in terms of the timing there. So yeah, but eventually he will still win here. Not much of a contest, I would say, right? But his Might is also dealing really good damage. Molten Lion will now get to use his invincibility technique as a revenge. But yeah, so that is the ideal. I mean, not really the ideal team, but close to the ideal team that I am thinking of if you are building around a Puffu. Alright, so there you go. That's it for now. I really hope we get an event on Wednesday, like a new banner, because really it is a struggle to make new content here. Like, what would I talk about next? Maybe I'll talk about Shrimp Paler, but he is fairly common. I think a lot of people know about Shrimp Paler already at this point, but I'll try. So it's really hard to put up a content recently. So apologies to those people who are waiting. But yeah, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you on the next one.